The Sequence Creator allows you to create an automatic sequence of events. Let's go over the user prefs. On at startup begins the sequence as soon as the game starts. Loop determines whether the sequence automatically starts again once it's completed. Last step determines how many steps you want to include in your sequence. The next section allows you to set the duration of each step in the sequence. Step 01 duration determines how long step 1 lasts. Step 02 duration determines how long step 2 lasts. Step 03 duration determines how long step 3 lasts. Step 04 duration determines how long step 4 lasts. And step 05 duration determines how long step 5 lasts. There are 10 events. Sequence started happens anytime the sequence is started. Sequence paused happens anytime the sequence is paused. Sequence reset and started happens anytime the sequence is reset and started. Sequence reset and stopped happens anytime the sequence is reset and stopped. Sequence completed happens anytime the sequence has completed the last step. Step 01 started happens as soon as step 1 begins. Step 02 started happens as soon as step 2 begins. Step 03 started happens as soon as step 3 begins. Step 04 started happens as soon as step 4 begins. And step 05 started happens as soon as step 5 begins. I'll give you a quick demonstration. Let's use the Sequence Creator to control when some spike traps are up and down. I'll navigate to the Traps folder and drag a spike trap into my scene. With the spike trap selected, I'll make sure Auto Reset is checked, and I'll change the reset delay to 1 second. I'm also going to uncheck the Triggerable by Player option. That way we can stand on the spike when they're down without setting them off. Now that I have the spike trap set up, I'll duplicate it 3 times so that I have a total of 4. I'll set them up in a row so that they are all next to each other. Next, I'll navigate back to the Utilities folder and locate the Sequence Creator. Once I find it, I'll drag one into my scene. With the Sequence Creator selected, I'll check the On at Startup option and the Loop option. I'll change the last step option from 5 to 4. I'm also going to change the duration for steps 1 through 4 from 3 to 2. Now I'm going to expand step 01 started, step 02 started, step 03 started, and step 04 started. I want step 1 to trigger the first and third spike traps, so I'll drag spike trap to the step 01 event and tell it to raise spikes. I'll also drag in spike trap 2, which is the third trap, and tell it to raise spikes. So when step 1 begins, the first and third spike traps will go up, and then 1 second later they will reset. Let's have step 2 trigger the second and fourth spike traps. I'll drag spike trap 1 to the step 02 event and tell it to raise spikes. Then I'll drag in spike trap 3 and tell it to raise spikes. For step 3, let's trigger the first and last spike traps. I'll drag spike trap to the step 3 event and tell it to raise spikes. Then I'll drag in spike trap 3 and tell it to raise spikes as well. For the last step, step 4, let's trigger the 2 middle traps. I'll drag spike trap 1 to the step 4 event and tell it to raise spikes. Then I'll drag in spike trap 2 and also tell it to raise spikes. Now we should be ready to test it out.